She's,
I'm the worst at technology.
I know.
Oh my goodness. Your living room is gorgeous.
Thanks. Yeah,
What
that's
a
my
secret.
dream right there.
I think it's a lot of people's dreams. So, before we get started, we don't have to be on camera if you don't want to.
I'm
It
okay.
doesn't matter to me.
It's up to you. I don't, it's your, and this is for school.
Yeah. Yep. The emotional intelligence class I was telling you about.
Yeah.
So I guess let's just go ahead and kind of dive in here.
Okay.
So, um, thank you for doing this last minute.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
You always pull through, and that's family, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
I want to start out by just telling the people kind of who you are to me. Um, so we met at a coffee shop in 2014. I just moved back to Louisville from Chicago, and it was a coffee shop where you frequently came in, and um, you asked the employees, this is from my perspective and what I remember, you asked the employees if we wanted to do a personal index PI test. And those of us who chose to take the test, you then like set us down and we talked through it and what it all meant. Personality, testing and kind of how it relates to maybe what we want to do in life. And it was like a mini, before you even really got started, I think on your own coaching session. And you and I really hit it off because I was talking about creating an app, a startup. And you were really jazzed about it because it was a path that you had taken before yourself. And so you were really excited for me and eager to help me. And you introduced me to all kinds of amazing people. And long story short on that, it never came to fruition, but that was okay because we made a really wonderful friendship out of it. And initially, our relationship started out as mentorship, and then we became closer. And now you're like big brother. And it's been a little over 10 years now. So thank you, Greg. And we'll just kind of dive right into my first question. And that is, have you heard of the term emotional intelligence?
Yes. I have heard of the term. Can you hang on one second? I'm gonna close this door because there's noise in another room. Hang on a second.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, sorry about that. Yes, I have. Yes, I have. Um, my father is a clinical psychologist, so but it as an executive coach and consultant, that obviously is a big word that comes up early, in that kind of training. So
Yeah, so tell me in your own words what emotional intelligence is to you.
it is it is a person's awareness of how they are experiencing a set of conditions. Like for example, I'm aware of how I'm feeling right now, how I'm experiencing our conversation. That's emotional intelligence, that you're tuned in to yourself.
Yeah,
And I could draw a distinction. I'll be too long-winded, but that's like emotional intelligence. That's how I would describe it. And then social intelligence is you can pretty accurately guess how somebody else is feeling in a certain moment or in the same conversation, a set of conditions. And then there's relationship systems intelligence, which is like you can kind of read the room and you can see like what the team needs as like this third entity kind of thing. But emotional intelligence, yeah, that's where I start with that.
that's interesting. So I've never heard of the separation from emotional intelligence. You said social and then relationship intelligence. That's interesting.
Yeah,
So you use kind of that method in that methodology in coaching teams
yeah.
at the executive level?
Mhm. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, can you tell me more about there's a big program that you kind of put together and that really works for your teams that you work with. Can you describe a little bit about that? Because I would assume, and correct me if I'm wrong, that is pretty much based on the foundation of emotional intelligence.
Mhm. Yeah. So the lead like a coach, where we try to help leaders, yeah, step into kind of being a professional coach. And it does start with that self-regulation, by being aware of how you are feeling, because essentially the program is there to help someone um, take a more non-directive stance in their conversations and give ownership to thinking for people that they lead. So these are usually for leaders. Instead of just giving advice all the time and telling, one of the triggers to getting into that tell mode and a kind of a block from getting into ask mode is a lack of emotional intelligence. Sometimes, they're just not aware of how impatient they are or that they were triggered in some way. So they're just sort of running without any self-awareness, and it oftentimes just comes out in either authoritarian or just trying to help too much. It comes out in a way that doesn't give that person agency and the ability, autonomy to think for themselves. So that's kind of how I think it plays in with that program.
Yeah. So you've told me, and ultimately we're going to get down to kind of your family and you're a parent, but I want to first talk about how you help these individuals in your program and they tell you, they come in and they come back and they tell you, Greg, I use this at home, and even what I'm learning here helps make a difference in how I am in my relationships as a parent, as a spouse, as a friend, XYZ. Um, Maybe is there an example that you can think of at the top of your head that was really impactful that a person came back and told you how it made a difference in their home life as well as their work their work life?
Yeah, thank you. A really common one. I've had the just, I'm so lucky that I've been able to do it hundreds of times. It's like thousands of people. But like one of the most common things is when they start when they start coaching more often at work, what happens is that they end up getting more time back. That's one of the things that happens. Lots of things happen, but they end up getting more time back and they get to go home to their families at a decent hour. But they're also going home unburdened because they've turned their team into the owners of the problems. And so they're going home. They're not still trying to create solutions. They're leaving work at work. And then they get home and now their family gets to experience them being present, right? And now if they then they keep applying that, asking questions, and the relationships deepen with their family and their kids. And their kids' grades are their grades now. They're not the helicopter parents anymore, and all of that. So they're growing critical thinking skills for their children. They're going to be more successful. But here's something. The human brain can hardly decipher the feeling when you're being listened to with love. And so it's so like they feel more loved when the parent actually listens and asks questions, as opposed to just, telling them exactly what they've got to do when they've got to do it, all that kind of stuff.
Wow.
So it's pretty neat. Yeah.
Yeah. That's really changing people's lives,
Yeah.
you know?
It's so wonderful. Yeah, trust goes up, and I think psychological safety goes up when you feel listened to. And one of the things in the program is that the number one skill is, like, I think it seems so small, but like acknowledge and validate. So if somebody says, I'm struggling with this thing, and you just say, that sounds hard. and then they're seen and they're heard, and then you get on this sort of sacred ground, and the cognitive load lightens for them when you acknowledge and validate. And now the whole goal of coaching is for them to think more actively, more creatively. So now, just by saying something so simple as that sounds really hard or that sounds tough
Yeah.
with
Instead
silence.
of
Yeah,
interjecting your own, you know,
yeah,
your own thoughts and how you would handle this, and it gives them the freedom to really think for themselves and know that you're just there supporting them.
that's it.
That's
100%.
it. It's so simple, but like so difficult to do. I think I'm a person of wanting to interject.
We all are, and that's one thing we do too is normalizing all of that. Like it's the human condition. Most of the time we just want to help. And that's there is something in psychology called the righting reflex, where it's just the helping reflex. It's just automatic, you know. It's our schema. It's our automatic response.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You're a wealth of information always.
Huh.
So we were talking about how it kind of makes a difference in an individual's home life with their children. And um, you you had a second child at the age of 50.
Hmm.
And sweet Josie, do you want to talk a little bit about her and then we'll talk about your relationship with her?
Sure. Yeah, she's yeah, Caroline's like, I'm pregnant, and I went to the mailbox and there was the AARP magazine, like I'm like, what's happening? So yeah, we were like the late old parents because we had fertility issues and things like that. So as when she was around 2 years old, Caroline started noticing that something was different. And then, I don't know, by the time she was 3, she was fully diagnosed with autism, living with autism. And um, so it's been like a journey of self-educating, but it's interesting books I read on autism, like how do you parent kids with autism? Every single thing in there applies to everyone else. Like, of course you should, like all of the parenting tips they have in there, like that would apply to anyone. So I think that was kind of fascinating. No matter what I read, I always say that to myself, like, okay,
I think that could apply to any child.
yeah.
So once you guys discovered that Josie was different and you sought help, um, how did it, okay, before knowing how Josie is with autism, was there a difference in your parenting before versus after, do you think?
Did the autism diagnosis change how we treated her and parented
Yeah.
her? That's a really good question. When you're so close, like it's just hard. When you're so close to it, she's just Josie to us. Like I don't, you know what I mean? I don't think about it very much. Um, but yeah, she had some therapy, like ABA therapy, and they would talk to us. Like for her, she didn't really put herself in the picture. Uh,
Mm,
wasn't asking if she was thirsty. She wasn't telling us she was thirsty or hungry or anything. It's like it was something that was the first sort of sign.
uh-huh.
And so there were like little things we would do. Trying to think of what else. Um, and then she could have a meltdown because what we didn't understand, what we learned was that like a normal restaurant sounds to us, would just be background noise, but to her it was like 10 times louder and more.
Oh,
So that was overwhelming her. And then when she would get upset, it was just tuning into our own. emotional intelligence about how am I, how patient am I being? Am I being calm? Because I want to finish my dinner, things like that. Oh, we
Yeah.
have to back up and leave, things like that. So,
So, as a new parent, especially parenting a neurodivergent child, um, how have you had to adjust the way you listen, validate, or respond to your child's emotions? I guess is like the question that I should have made it is more
uh,
clear.
no, I think you're what I've done, and I kind of got this advice from my father, because he's an expert with these things, but he gave me a metaphor to hang on to, and I think about it. So if she's having kind of a overstimulated sort of meltdown, be a tree. Just
Mm,
want to be a tree, and you don't really want to react to it. You want to be there with her, but you want to be like just silent and be there. It's your presence, your calmness, because she has to kind of burn all that off, and she has to kind of calm down on her own. So that's probably the best advice I've had. You don't try to like, oh, is it okay? Or you don't try to say, stop yelling, stop crying. You
yeah.
don't become emotional with her. She needs a tree, and it works for sure. It works
Mm,
for both of us, I would say.
I love that. I need a tree sometimes as an adult.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, so in your work as an executive coach, you help people feel heard and understood and emotionally regulated. Have you noticed an overlap between the validation skills you use with leaders and what you now use as a parent, or does it feel completely different in practice?
I, no, I'm consciously doing it the same. I now. Second go around, I'm wiser. And so yeah, I do. As far as that acknowledging and validating that kind of thing, you know, with Josie, you're mad because we have to go to bed at this time. It's just a reflection or an acknowledgement of how she's feeling. And it's so different than, you know, just being authoritative.
Yeah.
She,
I mean, that is that's a common parenting style is, being authoritative both at the office and in the household,
yeah.
you know?
It's all and that's with leaders and parents. It's a lot of times just how we were raised. It's all we know. It's,
Yeah,
um, I don't judge people, or I really try not to judge myself when I slip. We're all imperfect, and we'll forget, the right thing to do sometimes. And you just have to kind of give yourself grace and, you know,
absolutely. Um, there was an article that we read in class by Dr. John Gottman, and he talks about I think there was four types of parenting styles: the dismissive, the disappointing, the laissez-faire, and then the other one just kind of talked about like the good parent.
uh,
And I'm curious, how would you describe parents, um,
parents, the
your
parents that raised
parents?
me.
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. They were pretty strict with things. They're very authoritative, Dad
Mhm.
was, even though he was a psychologist. Yeah, he was actually a child psychologist in the early going, and then he switched to different practices. But they're both teachers. They're good, but it was very much very, very high standards, very, very clear processes and structure. I mean, there was a lot of that, which was good, but yeah, they were very strict. Uh,
So maybe the disapproving parent.
oh yeah, you could never ever hit the standard. It was
Mm.
That's what my siblings and I now we're all in our late 50s, it's like we even talk about it now, like we could never hit the mark with them, either one of them really. But I mean, they were great parents. I don't have any complaints, but that's how I would characterize them. They were not abusive or anything like that.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good.
So are you able to then recognize those types of individuals that you're coaching from like their root? Because, the way that we act, at least what I think, is derived from some sort of rooted childhood um, situations, or parent type. Uh, and we're all just, when we grow up to be adults, we kind of just trying to overcome that, but don't always know how. So it comes out in different ways that we protect ourselves and through the way that we were taught by our parents. Do you see that a lot in your group settings that you're coaching?
I that comes out more in one-on-one coaching when we go real deep with
Oh,
people.
okay.
I would say, yeah, like if a leader's trying to become a better leader, so they're working with me, and a lot of times that, yeah, things from childhood, a lot of times they're just beliefs. Like, well, sometimes they're limiting beliefs, or they're
Hmm.
just um, they're like sayings that you hear, like you got to go the extra mile, or and so they work 80 hours a week, and then they try to, that might be their leadership challenge, where they're trying to do everything themselves. And so it becomes very hard, because of their parents and their beliefs and things like that, to let go and delegate, or let go of authority, like let go of true authority. And that's a lot,
Yeah,
a lot of the work you do when you're an executive coach. You're helping somebody let go.
that's great work.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. Um, I have a couple more questions, and then we'll kind of wrap up. But um, after becoming a parent, how would you say that parenting? Okay, let me back up a minute because this is your second child.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say after having Josie, how has parenting reshaped how you understand emotional intelligence, either in yourself or in your relationships? Like, or has it reshaped and it may not have changed? Maybe. I don't know. That was bad. Poorly asked. Sorry. Do you
How's
know what I'm trying to ask?
being a parent, has it reshaped
Your understanding of So,
emotional intelligence? Okay, I was trying to key in on that. Okay. Yeah. No, that's um I'm trying to think of a specific example. Patience is like in the way you respond to a stimulus, or stress, the way a person copes with stress, and uh, is something that I think yeah, it's like a muscle you have to practice. And if anything, that's what that being a parent, that it gives you a lot of practice. You're like in the gym, you know, working out your coping skills a lot, I think. And so I think that's probably been a, positive. Um, I'm just thinking about my awareness of how I am being, in different conversations from work and with her.
yeah,
And yeah, I would just that's how I would respond to that. That it just you get more practice at your IQ building, EQ building, if you will, I guess. Yeah.
Mm. Greg, what helps you regulate your emotions?
You know that that coaching school when we met, I think that was one of the best. They had something called the seven levels of energy. It was called IPEC was the school. And the seven levels of energy, basically they have this exercise where you it's cognitive behavioral therapy is what it is. But that what they do is you hold out a stimulus, something that's causing you strife of some kind,
Hmm.
and you write down all the emotions that you're experiencing with that stimulus. And then you write down all the thoughts that are driving those emotions. And then you write down how it's impacting you. And that's you're sort of organizing your automatic, unconscious without thinking, bam, that's how you're responding to it. But then you draw a line underneath that and you create what do you want? How do you want to be in the face of the same stimulus? Well, I want to be calm. I want to have high emotional intelligence, like all the things that you would think of with that. Now, what's the new thought that's going to support that? And that's where the work is. You got to think about what's true, what you believe in, who you are, what you want, and you put all those in, the perspective comes in there, your purpose. And then what happens when you practice this with different stimuli, you start doing it faster. And that's helped me the most. If I have any kind of problems, I'll get out the paper and work through it on my own. It's like a self-coaching thing. And then the seven levels, it just organizes and gives a language to the different ways you can respond to something. Like you could be victim energy and just be totally like at the effect of the world. That's level one. Level two is you're mad and you're blaming and you're judging and all those things. And then you move into like three through seven, which are elevates. Each one has a different characteristic to it. But the whole point of the whole thing is that you as a human being that you can choose. You have the power to choose where you want to go, no matter what the stimulus is. It
Mm, that is so true.
yeah.
Is this there was a book that you recommended a while back, and I feel like this was the energy stages in that book, and you sent me a photo of it one time, or maybe twice.
Yeah.
Is it the same one?
Yeah, yeah. It's IPEC's book and it's called Energy Leadership, I think. There,
Okay.
it's that one. And then there's another really famous book that it's sort of the it's Viktor Frankl was a Holocaust survivor and he was a psychologist and he said that, you know, man's last human freedom is the power to choose your own thoughts, basically, because you know he
Yeah.
you know, they were doing human experiments on him and he was near death every day, but he realized they couldn't get into his brain and that he could actually choose his response no matter how bad it got. And
Well, I'm gonna look
so
that up.
and that kind of plays well with the seven levels of energy because you're once you go through it, that's probably the most effective thing I've done as a coach. And that's the feedback I get from people I coach. They said, "Well, the most important thing that I did with you was learning how to go up, you know, go up and down through the levels on my own terms." You know,
Mm, that brings an incredible amount of self-awareness to someone too by doing those exercises
yeah,
because it's driving them to really pay attention to their thoughts and where they and how they are and seeing how they are reacting in real time to a situation.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I always say at the beginning, I say if um, you get more of what you want faster at a lower cost if you're in those higher levels of energy.
Mm,
It's just whatever it is that you want to achieve or whatever endeavor it is. If you're operating, at those higher levels, that was going to come faster to you without as much, cost.
Yeah, I'm gonna look into this for sure. I would operate that way.
Yeah, me too. It sounds it sounds good, but it does. I will say that if for anyone who practices like all really works at it, you do
hmm
you do see the needle move. You start get to you spend less time, you know, stressed out and stuff.
That's great. I mean, it's a daily practice though, too, just like anything.
Yeah, yeah.
It's building a muscle. Um, all right. Two more questions. So the last one before the the next question, not the last question. Um, what are some ways, maybe like two or three ways that you think people can improve their emotional intelligence in general? And this is just for, me, people in my class that are going to listen to this.
hmm Yeah. One, I think that is that if you're really on that journey and you really want to improve it, I would ask for feedback. Like tell people that you interact with a lot at what you're doing. Like say, hey, I'm trying to work on my emotional intelligence and I'd like to, invite you to give me feedback if you on how you think I'm doing in our interactions, over time. I think that's always good. Um, because you need help with awareness, right, from others and how you're being experienced. The things I told you, those 7 levels, I think that's one concrete way. That breakthrough laser coaching, CBT exercise. We didn't really get into it, but that's that 3 column exercise with the emotions, the thoughts, and then the impact. That's another one that I would recommend. And those 7 levels just give you a kind of a map and a language to work with to improve your EQ.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Um, okay, so I didn't lie, but there is another question for the last one
Yeah.
that I want to ask real quick.
Oh,
And
no
if
rush at
you're
all. I'm good.
okay giving me feedback, what is one area of EI that I'm good at, and what is one area of EI that I could improve on?
Um, I think your sense of humor, like you were recently in a car wreck, but like like you didn't seem like you seemed to really hold it together, and things happen like that to you. It's you have a very high emotional intelligence, I think, because um, some people would just sort of, go into like, drama and say it all, everything, and you kind of just laugh at it. It's like you're watching a movie or something. It's a pretty amazing talent, and so yeah,
I don't know if it's me disassociating from myself and like
yeah.
I love to zoom out.
Yeah, I think that there may be something to that with, since you're studying this, I'd be curious if you come across like detachment, like that there's a healthy detachment. When you're coaching somebody, there's a healthy detachment. You got to they have to work through their emotions and their problems, right? So there's this sort of distance there. And I feel like that's a strength of yours when it comes to this whole emotional intelligence thing that so you're able to kind of put some space there to so you stay even. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
And a way that I could improve, we all could use improvement in life.
No, I'm trying time. I've known you a long time, but I'm trying to think of like
I'm perfect.
you're so perfect. Now you're gonna stump me here. And I feel comfortable giving you feedback. I totally do. I'm just having a hard time thinking about one in this realm. Um,
It's okay. I put you on the spot.
um, I think making like all we all can do is just making assumptions maybe
Mm,
or giving it time, giving things time to play out,
I
giving things
hate to do
time to
that.
play out. That might be it. But I'm not sure if that's emotional intelligence. I think it could be or it could be related maybe the way something's making you feel delay your conclusions.
I
Um,
jump to conclusions and then I jump into a sense of urgency.
right. And it could be coming in some of that foundation that's pushing your urgency might be that EQ getting out of balance just a little bit. But and I think gosh, did you send this to me? No, my friend Tony sent it to me. He was a psychologist. I think I sent you some of this, but it said something about a tip he gave was just to delay. Like if you feel strongly about something and you're like, hey, this is my gut, I'm going to act on it. Look for ways to delay the decision on it, and kind of let the emotional part catch up or something like that. I guess that's the best I can do. I don't know. I'm trying to tie things together, but does that make any
It's
sense?
fine.
Might sound kind of
It's okay. We're really blowing the end here.
yeah.
All right, so the last question. Uh,
I
um,
believe you.
and I'll answer this too. What's a meaningful takeaway from our conversation today? You can go first, or I'll go first. Doesn't matter.
It's funny, like you as a coach, I forgot about the tree thing. I did until we had that conversation. Like I just had lost it. Like it worked so good that I stopped doing it kind of thing, but that really brought it back. So that was valuable to me and it's really good to get in touch with you asked me about that program that I love so much and how I never really spent time connecting it to emotional intelligence. So I got a lot of value there for me. How about you?
Good. Yeah, so I was going to say the tree as well. That was really impactful during our conversation. Also, just you as a person and hearing you talk about your job and it easily segueing into how you parent, like it never crossed my mind that you would have fallen into a dismissing parent, a disapproving a parent, or even a laissez-faire parent because of your job. And I know you who for you who are. Um, it's just really comforting overall to hear how you are as a parent to Josie, even though I already know that about you. And I'm just so very proud of, of you as a person. And it's so hard for someone to uproot out of those limiting beliefs, that we grow up with. And you are really changing people's lives.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Josie couldn't have a better parent,
No.
in my opinion. So,
Might not
yeah.
be here very long, but
Greg, don't end on that. Okay, we're not ending.
I'm just joking. I'm
The
just joking.
the
Totally.
class is gonna hear this. Oh
Oh,
my goodness.
I've been swimming and lifting weights. I'm in great shape. So
Yes, you're doing great. Your health is, we're gonna have to hop off here and then talk about that. Your
yeah.
limiting beliefs around your health.
Oh no, I'm doing good with that. Doing good.
Okay.
I was just joking around. So Okay, so you want me to bring it the thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, okay. Yeah,
No.
just